Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of John, the second chapter. And the third day, there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Yahushua was there. Now, let's see if we'll be able to find that on here. Unfortunately, this map doesn't go up too high. I'm not even sure if it has these cities on here on that detailed level, but doesn't look like it is. But we know that it would be somewhere north, right? Because now we're in the region of Galilee up here. And so Cana is probably somewhere more north, right? As the map is a bit cut off on here. I probably should find a better one. But let's continue on. It says, and the mother of Yahushua was there, and both Yahushua was called and his disciples to the marriage. So they were invited. And when they wanted wine, the mother of Yahushua saith unto him, they have no wine. Now, she knew they had no wine, but why would she tell him that? Right? So what? Was he supposed to go buy wine? No. But she knew that he had spiritual power. So she said that to him, insinuating that he should do something about it. Yahushua saith unto her, woman, what have I to do with thee? Mine hour is not yet come. It's not time for me to be performing these miracles. So he's saying, like, what? So what? Why are you looking at me? Like, what does that have to do with me that they don't have wine? But as her response is, his mother saith unto the servants, whatsoever he saith unto you, do it. So you know how mothers are, right? She wasn't even, it's like she just told it to him, and regardless of what his response is, she's already telling the servants, okay, you know what, just whatever he says, just do it. Like as if she's not hearing what he's saying about the fact that it's not time for him to be doing these things openly yet. Her mind is, yeah, you know what, it's fine. You just go ahead and do it. I already told the servants to just be ready. Come on. And there were set there 6 water pots of stone, after the manner of the purifying of the Jews, containing 2 or 3 farkins apiece. And that's like the how much water would usually be able to be held in those water pots. So in the NLT, it says, standing nearby were 6 stone water jars used for Jewish ceremonial washing. Each could hold 20 to 30 gallons. That's your farkins, referring to a measurement of liquid. Yahushua saith unto them, fill the water pots with water, and they fill them up to the brim. So you get that red letter on there. So they filled the pots up all the way. And then he turned it he turned the water to wine. Who knows? He probably manipulated the elements in there, because wine is made up of, it's a combination or a composition of different elements, right? When you when you look at, like, in chemistry, right? If you even remember in chemistry class, there are certain liquids and substances that you can pour a bit of this and a bit of that and mix it together, and it forms something different. Like today, Kool-Aid. You take water, you take a sachet of some powdery substance, you pour it in there, mix it in, and now the water is no longer just water. It's now, its composition has changed now, because you have different elements that have mixed together to form a different substance here, right? So likewise, without the normal process of making wine, he was able to produce wine from water. And he saith unto them, draw out now, so, fetch some of that, and bear unto the governor of the feast. And they bear it. When the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, because he didn't know, and knew not whence it was. So he didn't know that this was water that the Lord had turned to wine. But the servants which drew the water knew. So they knew what he had done. Oh, shit, wow. The governor of the feast called the bridegroom. Remember, this was a marriage. And saith unto him, every man at the beginning doth set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse. So usually, people, they bring out the good stuff first, right? They get the people, this is good, first impression. But thou has kept the good wine until now. I see you. I see what you did. You saved that best for last. That's what you did. This beginning of miracles did Yahushua in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his glory, and his disciples believed on him. So first they were told, John the Baptist bore witness, but now the works that he did was the Father bearing witness of him, as he goes into, I believe, in the 3rd chapter or the 4th, but probably the 3rd. But the works that he did, as it says, when they saw it, they believed on him. So they might have believed before, but now seeing those works, it was a confirmation. Yeah, no man can, and Nicodemus said that as well, right? No man can perform these miracles save the Lord be with him. So now you'll start to understand better when the Yahushua breaks it down himself. But he started to perform these miracles. They saw it. They started to believe. Said, "Wow, oh my gosh!" And after this, he went down to Capernaum, he and his mother and his brethren and his disciples, and they continued there not many days. So they didn't spend too long over there. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Yahushua went up to Jerusalem, right, to keep the Passover, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, so he bound it together into like a whip, he drove them out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money and overthrew the tables, because he was pissed. You could do this anywhere else, and you come to do it in the temple. The temple is not a place for this. And he said unto them that sold doves, take these things hence. Make not my father's house an house of merchandise. You come in here to make money. And his disciples remembered that it was written, the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. As in, he was consumed with the zeal, right, of his father's house. And they remembered that precept, and they were like, oh wow, it makes sense now. Then answered the Jews and said unto him, what sign shewest thou unto us, seeing that thou doest these things? So you going around doing all these things, you moving around with authority. What proof, what sign do you have to prove that you are who you say you are, without walking around with all this authority? Yahushua answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. There will be your sign. But he wasn't referring to the physical temple, he was referring to his body. Then said the Jews, 46 years was this temple in building, and wilt thou rear it up in 3 days? This temple took 46 years to build, and you gonna build it up in 3 days? But he spake of the temple of his body. When therefore he was risen from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this unto them, and they believed the scripture and the word which Yahushua had said. Now when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover in the feast day, many believed in his name, when they saw the miracles which he did. But Yahushua did not commit himself unto them, because he knew all men, and needed not that any should testify of man, for he knew what was in man. And reading this in the NLT, it says, but Yahushua didn't trust them, because he knew human nature. No one needed to tell him what mankind is really like. So yeah, just because they say, oh, we believe, oh, we've seen the miracles. Guess what? Israel saw the Lord part the Red Sea in half, and they walked on dry land. Then they crossed the land and disobeyed him. Then they started worshiping idols, just as Moses went up to the mount to get the commandments for them. So them saying, oh, we believe, oh, the miracles, oh, it's him. Yeah, okay. The Lord already knows. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the book of John, the 2nd chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodesh. Until next time, Shalom.